Hi guys, Safaricom is a big company, and of course, all of us have witnessed its exponential growth in the past few years with additional services. Beyond its initial voice services, we saw M-Pesa come on board, we saw data come on board, and so forth. And this has actually pushed Safaricom to become one of the most valuable companies in the continent of Africa. That's why in this video I want to discuss with you why it is inevitable that M-Pesa, which is one of the main services under Safaricom, is going to be spin off to become an independent company, an independent service by itself of Safaricom. And I'm saying so because we're talking about a company whose market capitalization, or in essence its valuation, is over 1.5 trillion Kenya shillings. In essence, Safaricom by itself, based on its market valuation, can actually finance half of Kenya's annual budget. It is that insane. And also, we're talking about a company which in the past 1 year had a profit of 281 billion Kenya shilling. And in this context, I'm talking about its revenue, 281 billion Kenya shillings, of which over 30% of that was from M-Pesa alone. Because last year, M-Pesa brought in 107 billion shillings to Safaricom. Guys, that shows you how M-Pesa is a huge component of Safaricom, and actually it is driving its revenue. And in fact, most recent data estimates that M-Pesa alone is going to be able to drive upwards of 45% of Safaricom's revenue. And of course, with the change in government in Kenya, this being one of the agenda of the Kenya Kwanza, based on their manifesto, we're going to see a fastened spin-off of M-Pesa from Safaricom. And guys, it is estimated that early next year, even as early as January, we're going to see M-Pesa become an independent entity. So watch the entire of this video for you to get the details as to why this is the case, what it means for you and I, and also what it means to Safaricom and Kenya at large. You are all much welcome to the Money Daily YouTube channel. My name is Afagza Sifuna. By the way, if you're new here and you like such kind of discussions, consider subscribing to this channel. Subscribe for you to be getting awesome updates with regards to how you can multiply your money and also with regards to current affairs. Having said that, first of all, let's understand and appreciate the constitution or shareholding in Safaricom for you to understand why the government specifically is pushing for M-Pesa to become an independent entity of Safaricom. The government of Kenya holds 35% stake in Safaricom. Vodacom holds 35% stake in Safaricom. Vodafone holds 5% stake in Safaricom. And then the remaining is now the free floating, which is 25% of holding. In essence, the public floating shares out there, those shares which investors as individuals out there have bought through the NSE, account for 25% of holding in Safaricom. That's why the government is a very huge player in Safaricom business, and it has say. Even that's why you saw recently the president of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto, was actually personally in Ethiopia, championing for Safaricom to expand operations in Ethiopia and also for M-Pesa to expand its breadth of reach so as to continue ensuring financial inclusion and money transfer go beyond the borders of the country. Having said that, why will M-Pesa spin off from Safaricom? It is basically because of two reasons. Reason number one, which I have alluded to, is because M-Pesa is growing very rapidly. And of course, it is one of the key component drivers under Safaricom. Even though, when you take a look at it keenly, we're talking about it being slightly a different service offering from the founding base of Safaricom. Safaricom was actually an initial idea we started in early 1990s, and it materialized at the turn of the new century. But its initial starting point was on services around voice call, messaging, and so forth. To the invention of M-Pesa, we saw it grow huge on money transfer business. But now we are at a point in time where we're talking about two different kind of parallel things happening under Safaricom: the money business and also the voice, data, messaging, and so forth business. That's why it is at this particular point in time that it is ripe for Safaricom to ensure that M-Pesa spins off to become an independent entity by itself. And then Secondly, we're talking about also this being a case of regulation. What am I speaking to? You see, the government of Kenya, specifically the current regime under Dr. William Samoei Ruto, is of the view that Safaricom is actually a key champion in the ecosystem with regards to money transfer, but also beyond that, it has very exorbitant costs when it comes to transferring money and transacting in any business relating to M-Pesa. This thinking informs the logic as to why Safaricom should have M-Pesa spin-off. That's so because with this spin-off, we're going to have two regulators in the ecosystem regulating these independent services. Safaricom is going to continue being under the regulation of the Communication Authority of Kenya, and then we're going to see M-Pesa start being under the regulation of the Central Bank of Kenya. And with M-Pesa being under the regulation of the CBK, is going to mean that actually it's going to be treated as a new financial service, just like we see treatment, for example, digital lenders out there, and also treatment of commercial banks out there. And this is going to mean that, for example, the Central Bank of Kenya is going to have a say with regards to costs charged on loans being offered by M-Pesa out there and so forth. And this, by the way, in the longer scheme of things, is going to be an advantage to Kenyans because we're going to see fair pricing when it comes to money transfer under M-Pesa. I hope by now you have understood why it is the right time for M-Pesa to spin off Safaricom, for it to become an independent entity. And talking about it becoming an independent entity, as it is envisioned at the start of next year, M-Pesa is going to be a very separate company from Safaricom. What will that mean for M-Pesa as an entity? From the look of things, I think it's going to mean three things, right? The very first thing is that M-Pesa is going to become a super digital bank. What do I mean? At the moment, we're talking about in Kenya, over 95% of banking services are currently being sold online. And this is all because of advancement in technology. Right now, almost all commercial banks out there have their own banking, mobile banking services, and also online banking services. And of course, Safaricom with M-Pesa allows for mobile money transfers, which are done digitally. We're going to see M-Pesa become a super digital bank in that it's going to be able to assert itself way deep in this business of digital money transfer and also transacting electronically when it comes to money, right? And then the second thing which we're going to see is that we're going to see revamping of current services and also addition of new services on the platform. And talk about, for example, when it comes to just the basic money transfer business. Of course, talking about the retail clients, and also we're talking about the merchant clients who are, for example, transacting out there each and every day using options like, for example, mobile money transfers such as pay bill, buy goods, and so forth. So with these, at the moment, we're talking about there being almost 500,000 merchant businesses in the country who use M-Pesa. With this, we're going to see even possibility of there being, for example, Fuliza for businesses out there, which at the moment is not a service which is available. We only have, for example, Fuliza for individuals. And even beyond that, we're going to see other options when it comes, for example, overdraft facilities, and even this M-Pesa entity delving into other fields, for example, such as bank assurance, which are services being offered by commercial banks out there. We're going to see M-Pesa even delve into this to ensure people out there have very many options when it comes to money transfer business, and even them having options when it comes to financial inclusion in the country. Thinking about, for example, foreign exchange. I know at the moment we have M-Pesa Global, which is kind of acting as a form of FX in some way, but we're going to see competitive FX. Even beyond this, we're going to see possibilities of overdrawing and so forth. So guys, I can't wait to see M-Pesa become a fully fledged independent entity of Safaricom. What do you think? Do you think, for example, in case this happens, it's going to be, for example, the deathbed of M-Pesa? Or do you think it's going to be the point of it catapulting M-Pesa to become more and more profitable? From the face of it, I think in case M-Pesa spins off and is under the regulation of the Central Bank of Kenya, we're going to see, for example, a dip in the profit of M-Pesa first. And this is all because we're going to see these fees which are charged by M-Pesa revised somewhat downwards, but also it's going to avail M-Pesa the opportunity to expand its offering. And with expansion in its offering, we're going to see in maybe a year or two, M-Pesa is actually going to be able to double or even triple its revenue. What do you think? Thanks for watching this video. I look forward to share with you other awesome videos next time. Bye bye and you all take care.